are at the German Comic Con, and I'm joined by Thomas Nicholson, and we want to talk a little bit about. But first, let us start. Are you in Germany for the first time?
No, I was here about 5 years ago for another Comic-Con event, and prior to that, I've toured all around Germany with my band. So I was here maybe 7-8 years ago, playing everywhere from Berlin, Hamburg, Marburg, Kassel. We've even played small towns like Lauenau, which was one of my favorite shows.
So you definitely knew German for many locations in Germany. Which one was your favorite?
Like I said, it was Lauenau. Even though the population of the town is only 4,000 people, we had 500 people at our concert. So, 20% of the town showed up just to party with us.
That sounds definitely great. We want to talk a little bit about Adverse. It's your most recent project. It's in the post-production, I think, at the moment. What can you tell us about the story of the movie?
Yeah, well, I produced it, and I play the main antagonist. It also stars Mickey Rourke, Penelope Ann Miller, Lou Diamond Phillips, Sean Astin. I play a rideshare driver with a questionable past. I attempt to pay off a dangerous crime syndicate to save my sister. So currently, the poster right now kind of looks like this. It may change between now and then. We're premiering at the Fantasporto Film Festival in Portugal at the end of February. So it should be out in theaters in Germany later next year.
So we don't need to wait that long. If you said end of February, was it right?
That's for the film festival premiere. So then, it will probably come out maybe in the end of 2020, 2020. That's right, 2020. Whatever.
Yeah, this year is 2019. All
Next
good.
year, somewhere, I don't know.
You definitely will see him in the cinemas. If you mentioned that you are acting and producing the movie. Is it difficult to do both, or is it comes in handy if you're doing exactly at the same time, especially both creating the movie and acting in front of the camera?
It basically just means for me that there's a lot less downtime. So typically, if I'm working on a film just as an actor, I do my scenes and then I relax in my trailer. If I'm producing, then I do my scenes and then I have to be the producer. So there's no relaxing time for me, which I quite like, because waiting around on set for hours and hours in between scenes can be interminable.
What are you doing in the time when you are waiting on the set? Because when you are doing acting, you aren't that much involved in the creating. What are you doing in the free time? If you can tell it free time.
That's probably one of the main reasons why I started playing guitar, actually, was all the time of just sitting in my trailer being bored. I wanted to utilize my time to create something else. And obviously, writing is not really prevalent in the sense of, if you're performing as an actor and playing a character, you have to keep a little bit of focus on the attention of that character and all of his nuances and history, and keep your mind on that. But learning how to play guitar is a completely different compartment. So I would spend all my time in the trailer learning how to play.
And when did you start? If I'm informed correctly, you started acting at the year of 7. Did you in the meantime also started to learn guitar, or does it come later? When does it start?
I started playing guitar when I was about 14. And then, and I've been playing ever since. I've been touring for about 11 years, and played about 700 shows. I'm working on album number 7 right now.
Oh, okay. And what kind of music are you producing?
It's rock. So if you like Foo Fighters, then you'd like what we do. Also, one of the albums is a little bit more indie rock. And album 7 is going to be a little bit of a left turn for me again. I'm going to get back into my indie rock sort of vibe. So maybe something more along the lines of Atlas Genius or Temper Trap or something like that.
You are also known as one of your most famous characters, Kevin. Kevin was it in American Pie.
Yeah.
In the end of the last reunion, which was I think 7 years ago, one of the cast said we might see us again. How big are the chances that we are seeing another American Pie?
Well, Kevin was always the one that said to the next step. I believe at the end of American Reunion, my character said, we should do this every year. There was talks about an American Pie 5. John and Hayden, who wrote and directed American Reunion, came up with a storyline they pitched Universal. I mistakenly thought that they had written the script for about 3 or 4 years. I thought there was just a script on a shelf at Universal collecting dust. Recently, I texted them and I said, hey, what's going on? They're like, no, we never wrote it. Universal liked the idea, but they never moved forward. So anything's possible. I think it'd be fun to hang out with my friends again. But as of right now, there's no news.
All right, last question. No, not last question, because I'm seeing a bottle of whiskey over here. What is the idea behind it? Are you making the people drunk here on the German Comic Con, or what is it about?
Well, so you're talking about Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. It's my friend's company. It's delicious. It's whiskey, and it tastes like peanut butter. So I support everything that my friends do, especially when they do something that's good. So I'm standing behind my friend's company, and we've been introducing them to a lot of venues and cities and friends in different areas. And I know it's not available in Europe yet, it's only in the States, but it will be available next year. So I just thought, well, Comic-Con has like all the people that, in my opinion, are the coolest. Other people call us nerds, but this is the cool people. So I felt like they should know about it before everyone else does.
So we can definitely expect that this one is coming out in Europe maybe next year or that year after?
In the US right now, it's the fastest growing alcohol in 30 years.
All right, that sounds great.
I mean, it launched in August and it went to 50,000 locations in all 50 states in 3 months.
All right, that sounds great. So we are definitely awaiting this whiskey. Last question, you mentioned that you're working on the next album. What is coming out first, the next album or the next movie?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't know the release date, at least in all the territories for Adverse. And obviously, the only thing I do know about is that we're going to premiere at the Fantasporto Film Festival, which is the end of February. I've got a single already kind of queued up that I just need to get in the studio and record. So I may drop that one as early as January. So the single might beat the movie, but the album will be, I don't know, I might release a series of singles next year. Everyone keeps saying that, you know, albums are dead, singles are where it's at. So I'm going to try it out. I'm going to release a bunch of singles, like one every month or two next year, but mainly just to make another album because I'm old and I like albums.
So the album itself is dead as a form, or the CD as well? Because in times of all this digital stuff, I don't know if people are worried about that there will not be hard copies of an album in the stores, or why do you think it's dying, the album?
I mean, I don't know if it's the same here in the States. Vinyl has been on a resurgence for the last few years because people like to have the physical copy, and there's also audiophiles that will say it sounds better than digital. So I only have one vinyl, which is my Security album that came out in 2015. I rented a car a couple of years ago. I think it's like January 2018. There was no CD player. It was just a USB port.
Yeah.
So and as far as like why the album is dead is because people are listening to Spotify playlists. So it's basically the best of the best. It's all the singles. That's sort of the idea of why the album is dead. How often do you, as a music listener, pop in an album and listen to it from start to finish?
I need to admit very often, because I'm a fan of hard copies inside in my bookstores, because I think if you are seeing what is behind for work, if you do an album, all this kind of stuff, the booklet itself, the cover, the artwork behind it, and all this kind of stuff, I love it to have CDs in my shelf. I got so many, I got a whole shelf full of it.
No, I agree with you. I mean, as an artist, I love to create that. I just think that the listener is, you know, just wanting that like 5 minutes and then on to the next. So I don't know. I'm going to test it out. I'm going to test it out in 2020 to see if the album is really dead or not.
All right, that's a good word. And I would say thank you for your time and have a nice day.
Thank you.